Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Vendors Table. My name is MC Midday. Today we are joined by a powerful visionary driving forward the hopes and dreams of couples on their big day. Sotonye.
Sotonye.
Thank
you. Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Do you want to introduce yourself and your brand and what you do?
Okay. So my name is Sotonye. I am the founder of SD Weddings Management. To the glory of God, we are an award-winning wedding planning company, and we've been doing this since 2011. So we've been in the industry for a very long time. We've seen many people come, many people go, and we are still excited and passionate about planning weddings and just meeting couples. Every couple is different. Every wedding is different. And working with different vendors as well. It's just every day is different, and I absolutely love what I do and truly believe that it's my gift and it's also ministry for me as well.
Sensational. That's a sensational sales pitch. That's wonderful.
You're so
She was practicing that in the mirror. No, we love that. All right, let's do a little this or that before we get started.
Okay.
Break the ice a little bit.
Okay.
So 50-person wedding or 1,000-person wedding?
1,000 person.
1,000, yeah?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Why?
There's always going to be something to keep us on our toes. It's just more exciting. But I don't mind. Give me 50, give me 1,000, give me 5,000, give me 30. We don't mind. We just love to be a part of someone's day, and as long as you pay us our fee, regardless of the number of guests, we ain't got no problem. But yeah, sure. I think I'd prefer bigger weddings. There's a lot more movement to it, which gets us excited.
What's the biggest wedding you've done?
1,000 people.
You've actually done 1,000 people?
Yeah, I've done it like 3 times now. Yeah.
I don't think I would ever do a 1,000-person wedding. Would I?
Is it because you think people won't listen? It's too big of a crowd to control?
Yeah, I like to connect when I'm MCing.
Okay.
To relate to people, and I just don't think I can relate to that many people or connect to that many people. Like, it's almost a guarantee that some of the guests are going to be far enough away that they might just be having their own side conversation where everything's going on, or not paying attention, not focusing. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
We'll see. Let's see. 2025. If I get a client that has 1,000, I'm gonna knock on your door.
I'll be there.
You can do trial and error. 600.
And even that one, I mean, it was calm, but like there was definitely like the back of the room that I felt like, yeah, you guys are.
But layout plays obviously a part in that as well.
Yeah.
Long rooms, of course, everyone at the back is definitely not listening.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do understand what you mean. However, I guess that's why you do what you do, and you're the best at what you do, because regardless of the number, you're able to keep everybody engaged and keep them locked in. So
for sure. We love that. Live band or DJ?
DJ.
Okay.
DJ, yeah. Even though I love all my live bands. I'm not going to start naming them. Love you, but I think for like this generation, they can dance to the live band for an hour. So I have couples that would be like fighting with their parents. We don't even want live band at our wedding, and if we do, we're only going to dance for 30 minutes. So I think DJ is what I prefer, but also is what my couples usually want as well. Yeah.
Fine. Traditional photo booth or 360 booth?
I love a 360.
Yeah?
Yes, I love a 360. I don't even know what is the traditional, what the enclosed
just a normal
booth.
Picture, like a
the stand.
Yeah, stand.
No, I love the 360. Every wedding that has a 360, I always test it out because for my couples need to make sure that it's functioning well, quality is good. So I always make sure I do a test. But I love it, and my whole team get on it, and it's just fun. I like when 360s came in. I know this is meant to be a this and that quick fire, but we're going to talk it out. We're going to talk it out. But when 360s came into the wedding industry, it really revolutionized the whole photo booth, and the fact that you can send the video to your phone as well. Everyone loves that. Everyone, even, and when you see the aunties queuing up to do the 360, then you know that this 360 photo booth must be it, because aunties and uncles are queuing and they're having fun on it. So everybody loves the 360.
But do you feel like, because I feel like when it first came in, like it felt like it was at every event.
Yeah.
Like, now it's not so much.
It's not so much, but yeah. It is still very much. It still has it hasn't gone out of fashion yet. Even though people are bringing in like the audio photo booth,
magazine,
the magazine.
That's a good one.
Magazine, yes.
Go on, talk to me.
I don't want to. Magazine.
Are you not a fan?
You know, because you take it on your phone, sometimes the glare from the window, or you have to have a good positioning. You can't be close up. You've got to, like the distance from the photo booth to where you're standing, it matters. And then, yeah, maybe if there's some companies that have an actual professional photographer that takes it. But it's good. But I don't know, there's something just about the 360 that I just love. Just the fact that it's going round and it's different angles. But magazine booth is nice. It's classy. Yeah, we've had that. Even I think we had like a black one as well for one of the weddings we did, which was nice. And we had the barcode so people could scan it. Like it was nice. It was nice. But that is the new thing.
That is
the new thing. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like most of them do provide a photographer, but it's an extra cost as well.
Extra cost. Yeah. An extra cost. So it all depends. And also magazine booths are more pricey.
They are.
And they have to set up from earlier on in the day. So 360, they can come from, once the dance floor opens, set it up quietly and good. But with a magazine booth, it has to be constructed on site and it has to be done, very early on, know. So I think that's why obviously the cost is more than a 360.
Hotel wedding or marquee wedding?
I would say marquee, but it depends what hotel.
I thought you would have gone hotel.
It all depends. A hotel, we got like Fairmont, Fairmont in Windsor, of course. Dorchester, there's certain hotels, but again, it's capacity. I do a lot of 300, 400, 500 guest weddings, so we're limited with the hotels, whereas marquees, you're more likely to find a marquee that can hold that capacity. And also marquees like a blank canvas as well. And usually with a marquee, the surroundings is what also is what we like. The scenery, the grounds, you get more, and it's exclusive as well. So somewhere like Grand Connaught Rooms, you're sharing the entrance. Different weddings are happening at the same time. Whereas with a marquee, it's more or less you've got full exclusivity of the whole grounds. So
I think that exclusive one is actually a big one, to be fair.
Yeah.
Indoor ceremony or outdoor ceremony?
Outdoor.
Yeah?
Outdoor. I'm somebody where even if it rains to the if not for the venue saying no, we can't, it's gonna be indoor, I will fight to the last minute.
Really?
Because it's just, especially. So when couples do outdoor weddings, they've chosen a venue where really that's what it's known for, that outdoor wedding. The indoor, the alternative is never going to be as nice. It's never going to be as good. So I always, just feel for the couple. There was one wedding, my beautiful bride, if you're, watching this, the venue, my gosh, was probably one of the most beautiful venues for an outdoor wedding. Beautiful. And it rained. And it rained and it rained and it rained. And I was just so proud of her because it was her dream, but yet she handled it well.
Fine.
And that was where and the only alternative was the marquee, which we were using for the main reception, 500 guest wedding. So we had to cut like 1/3 of it.
Fine.
And do the ceremony. Of course, it wasn't the same, but she still enjoyed her day.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm an outdoor, because it's just so much more beautiful.
It is.
And you have also some more space as well. Some venues will tell you if it's indoors, you got 200, but when it's outdoors, you can do 300. So again, it gives you that flexibility as well. And picture-wise, makes it look like a destination wedding.
For sure. We love a destination wedding.
Yes.
Lastly, photography or videography?
Oh my gosh, why are you asking me these questions?
We just want to
The
know.
vendors are going to come for me. They're going to say, oh, so you don't like live band? You don't like...
This one is not like... This one. That is preference.
No,
we love both.
We love both, just to be very, very, very clear.
Which one do you love +1?
Okay, so video or photography. How about content creators? Let's throw that in.
They provide video. They provide video.
Let me not start that war. I say photo.
Okay. Fine.
And that's just because when couples get married, in the early stage, everyone's coming around to the house. Yes, you may put on the video, but after that, you rarely will bring out the video. No, let me not say that. You'll probably look at the album more frequently. than you would with a video. Maybe like on your anniversary, you'd pull out the video because it's usually it's going to be about 10, 20, 30 minutes long. And, you know, life is lifing. So you may not have the time to sit down and watch it. But with an album, you can just flick it. When guests come to the house, they can just flick it. You know, those pictures are just timeless as well. So I think it's the end product that I prefer versus actually, you know, them filming on the day and taking photos. It's the end product that I think is what I prefer, the album versus an actual 30. But videographers out there, please do give more than 7 minutes to couples. They really do need a bit more than that from their wedding day.
I guess that's also a package thing, right? So,
yes, Midday.
I'm just saying. Photographers, I got you. I got you back.
It's true. But at least in your starter package, add 30-minute video, please, in your starter package.
Because to be fair, there feels like there's so much that happens on that day that like a 7-minute, is it effective enough to capture it in the way that you really want it?
But I guess it really comes down to budget. I think if couples had a choice, would you want 7 minutes? Would you want 30? Of course, they'd go for the longer one. But it's really a budget thing. But for the even the 60-second highlight, the 3 minutes before, it is great. But it's just, you know, snippets of the day, where some couples want to hear, you know, the speeches or the vows, you know, at the church. They want to hear certain speeches, and I know certain videographers do have packages where it won't be in a final edit, but they can give you that as a separate file and stuff like that.
Okay, let's get into some wedding chat.
Oh, I thought we had already started.
Technically, yeah, we had. But then in weddings in particular, obviously you've been around now. What is that? 13 years? Is it?
It's been a while, yes,
11, 14,
so
14 years.
But I've been in events before that, but I came into weddings in 2011.
Fine.
Yeah.
So in all that time, what are like some of the common questions that couples ask you during the process? Because obviously for majority, well, most, if not all, it's the first time doing a wedding, so there's just a lot that they don't know. Yeah. So what are those things that you get commonly asked about?
That's interesting, because as a planner, I more or less steer the ship, right? So I take them on the journey. So every step of the way, I'm giving them information. I'm telling them, this is what we're doing. These are things you need to consider. So that's why a good planner is somebody that has in-depth knowledge of the industry and knows the steps, you know, that one needs to take when it comes to wedding planning, because the couple can't, you know, they're leaning on you to lead them, to guide them, to instruct them, to advise them. So, you know, couples, the first question that most couples will ask is, can this budget work? You know, and, you know, couples, they're so innocent. They just think, oh yeah, X amount will be fine. And I'm like, nah. As we know, when you add the word wedding onto anything, add a couple more, you know, pounds onto that. So I think couples are usually very shocked at how much weddings cost.
For sure.
And then sometimes they say, oh, well, my friend got married and she, you know, did it on this budget. But then when we look at the factors, you know, you're having 400 people, she had 60 people, you know. So I always say to couples, it's a numbers game. And if you want to, you know, kind of reduce the budget, reduce the numbers. But then again, I've done weddings for 70 people and, you know, the budget was over 50K. So it kind of all depends on what your priorities are. Sure. But couples always want to know, is this budget realistic? Because that's where everything starts from. If we don't have a budget, then we can't start, you know. And I always say to couples, what's the maximum you want to spend? And then we kind of, and then put together the budget sheet and then know what the priorities are. So we know where to put, you know, the most of the money, and then where we can kind of maybe cut back, see if a friend can, you know, empty the wedding or whatever and stuff like that. So that's one of the questions. Another question couples are asking now, because, you know, before they would want to do the traditional in the morning, then do the white wedding ceremony, and then do the reception. So we're getting, you know, the day starting at 8 o'clock, 9 a.m. in the morning. It's a very long day. So now couples are actually asking me, you know, do I think that they should do have that format for their wedding day, or have the white wedding ceremony and then do the reception for the rest of the wedding, which I'm sure maybe you've seen that as well. But again, I guess with the traditional, it's their laggard, that does the main part, and then you guys come on after. So couples are now actually asking how can they combine both ceremonies, but in a way where it's not stressful, where they're having to do the traditional in the morning and it's only an hour. And, you know, the laggard doesn't want to finish.
Yep.
The parents are saying, don't rush them. We haven't done, So I think, couples are just trying to have everything that they want, but in the most kind of seamless, stress-free way. And that's, you know, the sort of questions that they're asking. And then things like, sometimes I just want to know, you know, if we do a wedding in central London, is it, you know, are they going to want to pay for parking? You know, just these small little things. But really and truly, the journey is the journey that I take them on. And as you can tell, I talk a lot, but I talk from a place of passion, but also from the bird's eye view of the whole wedding. So sometimes couples also have different dynamics. Look, my fiance is not Nigerian. This is what we're thinking. Is this going to work? The different cultures, how's it going to come together? You know, different questions. My mum is saying this, my dad is saying that, my mother-in-law is saying this. So we kind of act as mediators, sometimes marriage counsellors, family counsellors. We are just here just to, you know, help couples make educated decisions based on information that we give to them.
Okay, I like that. Just touch on that point you made about the budget.
Yes.
Part. So I know, again, it's one of those things where people may not be aware just how much things cost because they haven't done it. But when they get those quotes, obviously it's a shock. So what are the bits of advice you give to people when it comes to how to put together a budget or when to think about how far their money will stretch or where it will get them?
Yeah. So one thing I always say to couples is no matter what the budget is, it's still a good budget. Because sometimes somebody might say, 25k, that's so small. But somebody had to work for that money. It wasn't free money.
It's not small.
If
someone give me 25k, it's small money.
So I never want a couple to feel like, their wedding's not going to be great because they're not spending 50, 60, 70, whatever. At the end of the day, the most important part of that day is the vows. And their commitment in front of God and their families. And I always say that to couples. Now, whatever budget you have, when you hire SD Weddings Management, we're going to make your wedding look like a 100k wedding, okay? Because, you know, that's what we do. We stretch your money. We have vendor friends who look after our couples. And, you know, we can just, save our couples money as, you know, preferred suppliers and relationships and stuff like that. So when it comes to the budget, the big determining factors, number one is the venue. Now, you can't say your budget is 30k and then the venue's like 15k. That's half of your budget. Yeah. What do you expect us to do with the rest of the 15k? And then catering, big up to all the caterers, you know, per head, that's gone up. So catering now may even be another 15k, you know. And, you know, we love you all. We appreciate the food. We appreciate the service. So I'm very realistic. I don't sell no dreams. If your budget is 30 or 40k, the venue has to be, you know, a certain amount, right?
So what percentage of?
You know, I don't really know about percentages, but obviously what I do is that I, you know, look at the different figures because some people might say, I'm happy for the venue to be 15k. I'm still not going to change my budget, 15k, and I'm happy to kind of, you know, look at alternatives for other things.
Okay,
you know, so it's still, every budget is different and every budget is dependent on what the couple wants. But they can't be saying that they want a 15k venue and then they want, you know, the top photographer and they want, you know, Taste Haven and they want all of these, you know, luxury vendors, because then, you know, you're definitely looking at 60k and above, you know, etc., with the venue being at 15k. So we sit down and we dissect the budget and we look at what's important to you. And, you know, there's so many amazing vendors who have different price points, and I'm the sort of planner where I match vendors to the couple.
I think that's important.
Yeah, I love everybody in the industry and everybody is great. I don't have any biases or work with specific people because it's very unfair. Couples have also what I might like, my couple might not like. It's not my wedding, it's your own, right? So I always make sure that I know what their needs are, I know what they're looking for. And then, you know, let's say, for example, the venue is quite, you know, it takes a lot of their budget. Then the next thing is catering. That's another big cost. Do we have enough money to do family style? Or do we have to go to buffet? And I'm seeing now, there was a time when it was like, and my favorite is family style. I love the experience. I just love it. But it's almost like we're returning back to buffet.
Yeah,
I'm seeing a lot of buffet now, and I think that's because venues have gone up,
Price,
everything's gone up, so it's like we gotta go back. But the way that the way that buffets are being coordinated is so much more like seamless. It's not chaotic. It's not like a carnival.
It used to be.
It used to be, hey, and you'll be telling one auntie, your table wasn't called, and she'll be like,
that's low.
That's when guests are not, they don't smile with us at that point.
But
we have to be, your table was not called, I'm so sorry, you're gonna have to go back. So my role as a planner as well is to look at alternatives. Yes, plated would be amazing. Doesn't really work too much though for our culture. It doesn't really work.
Variety on the plate that we need.
It doesn't, and then you need to get the menus in advance. People are not even RSVPing, let alone select a menu.
Order.
Right. So just alternatives, and ways as well that we always trying to help with the catering numbers is not everybody needs to come to the sit down. Not everybody needs to come to the sit down. Do you know how much you're paying per head for that seat, that cutlery, that spoon, that fork?
Every person the cost goes up in more ways than just the food.
Yeah.
Like you said.
So it's so we always say, half your numbers, cut it down. Only have a certain amount of people that are there for the sit down meal, and then have more people come in the evening. So if you want to do the family style for the sit down, you can, and then in the evening you can do a buffet. And to be honest, our people love a buffet because you can have like 12, 14, 15 dishes. Family style, 8 dishes on the table. It's a squeeze because the decorator has done some beautiful decor, but there's no place for the bowls. So we're like dishing the food from our hands because we can't place it on the table. So budget. And the venue really is the most. So if I know that my couple's budget is, a little bit lower than what it should be, then I would say they wouldn't really be able to go for a venue that's more than maybe 6K or 8K. Okay. And there are venues out there that are beautiful that are at that price point. So as a planner, it's important to know different price points for venues, different price points for vendors, and then even different packages as well. Maybe you can't get an album right now because your money can only stretch to get a photographer to come out and do the full day. But when the wedding's done and money's coming back into your account, then maybe, for your first year anniversary, you get back in contact with the photographer and say, we're ready now to, to purchase an album. Fine. And that's okay.
That makes sense.
That's okay. These are the things that I tell my couples, let's just, do what we can with what we have. But of course, couples that have amazing budgets, it's a dream. There's no limit. We can do what we want. Yes.
So which one do you prefer, the challenge of making someone's budget stretch as far as possible and building a bigger wedding than they thought they could have for that budget? Or do you prefer 100 million budget, just spend it on whatever?
That's interesting.
Different challenges, right?
It is, but for me, it's more than the money. I generally want to have a good relationship with my couple. Like the wedding day is one day, and it will be fantastic. During COVID really showed us that you can have a 30 people wedding and it's beautiful. For I didn't even think weddings would return back to 500, 700 because people were enjoying COVID. They were saving their money, not enjoying COVID, but they were saving their money. They were realizing I still survived 30 people here, But then shortly after COVID, I then had a 700 people wedding. So I was like, okay. We're back in business. But for me, like, it's obviously a couple that don't have restrictions. Of course, you can dream. Couples will say, oh, you like to spend our money. I'm like, no, I'm just giving you what you want, the vision. We can dream together. There's no limit. So, of course, that's beautiful. But for me, I always say the most important part of the day is the chemistry between a couple. We can spend 100K, 150K. I did a wedding 150K budget. But it's the chemistry.
That matters.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And the MC as well. You got to get the right MC because it's the energy in the room. It's the bridal party. It's actually the things that you don't spend money on, like the bridal party. the chemistry between the couple,
Yeah.
the relationship between the families, things
That's
that actually
important.
don't cost, but they show so much on the day. No one's going to see the decor when there's obviously an issue between the two
Yeah,
families.
yeah.
Or the bridal party are just so
So
dry.
flat. Yeah.
Like the DJ's pumping and no one's dancing.
Yeah.
You know, the wedding finishes at 10 o'clock and you spent how much? So
Yeah.
budget is great, but there's other factors for me that makes my job more enjoyable. And that's actually getting on with my couple, having a great time. When we have our meetings, we're laughing, you know, we
Yeah.
become friends. And then it's my heart's desire to over deliver for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever they have, I'm going to stretch it. Even with the unlimited, I'm still going to stretch it because I still want them to feel like this is more than what we could have done without you. Because I always say, what's the point of having me if you're going to produce the same thing I would, you know, you can produce without me.
For sure.
So my thing is, first of all, relationship with the couple. Whatever the budget is, we're going to make it work. We're going to make your wedding look beautiful, make the day seamless, and make sure that everybody has an amazing time. And we're going to stretch it and make sure that our vendor friends, you know, look after our couples for us.
Indeed. Okay, what are those? So you touched on those sort of bits that make the day what it is, the relationships in the families and stuff. What are those like smaller details that are sometimes overlooked but very important on the day?
Oh my gosh! So recently, obviously with the cost of catering, couples have been telling caterers one number, which is slightly different to the number. And this is actually quite a key thing because it did actually happen at one of our weddings. The numbers just spiraled up and we wasn't able to communicate that in time to the caterer. So what tends to happen is that because caterers more or less hire in cutlery, crockery, glassware, they will literally hire in to the T. Now, back in the day, right, 'cause I've been in the industry for a while, back in the day, you would tell a caterer, you know, even when you're hiring cutlery and crockery and everything, you would tell them, you know, give me 100 plates and they'll probably bring 120. Just in case, because some may be dirty, some may be broken, whatever. Not anymore. Kate was you say 100, we're giving you 100. So that is something that now I would definitely tell couples, if you're ordering, you know, cutlery, crockery, glassware from the caterer, you want to add an extra 20 on top anyway, even regardless of your numbers, just add an extra 20 because sometimes you know, that something might be dirty or might be broken or whatever. And then just be honest with your numbers as well with the caterer, because what has happened is that there's now a shortfall and there's now a table that doesn't have any plates, doesn't have any cutlery, and now we're all running around thinking, what should we do?
Yeah.
So it's these small things. And even just down to chairs, like even down to decorators now, everybody is bringing to the T. You told them 100, they're bringing 100 chairs. You know, but you know, back in the day, your mum would say, don't worry, the caterer, tell her 100, she'll cook for 300.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Everybody is sticking to the number. So you got to be honest. Because then there's a bigger problem on the day than just paying the extra money.
For sure.
Yeah. Other things as well that make a difference is like transport. You know, just transport. Again, you know, back in the day, we would order, you know, limos. That was a thing. You know, back in the day, everybody just gets in a limo. Hey. We don't really see limos anymore.
I can't remember last time I saw it. I can't remember last time I saw it.
But that was it. You know, everybody get in a limo. We all get to the same destination. Nobody's parking here or getting lost. Now everyone's Ubering it, you know, if they haven't hired a car. So, you know, pre-booking it. Pre-booking it is really, really, really important. And also, before we would say, oh, you know, no one should drive themselves, but sometimes location-wise and Uber being cancelled, maybe is anyone driving? Can the groomsmen take the bridesmaids? You know, these are just small things. And it all just depends on, obviously, the logistics of the wedding. But I think back in the day, it was like, no, you know, groomsmen have to leave bridesmaids different. But now with Ubers cancelling, and then it's like, the bridal party are waiting for 2 more bridesmaids who are waiting for the Ubers, but the Ubers keeps on getting cancelled. It might be a thing where if you've got enough cars among the bridal party, everybody get in your cars and drive.
Yeah.
All depends. But it's just, so transport, even for parents as well. How is the bride's mum getting to the church? We know how the bride's dad is getting to the church because he's going with the bride.
Yeah.
But everybody forgets the bride's mum. How's she getting? And did they drive their car to the hotel? You know, so I'm going to drive. It's, all of that logistics around transport. And then, you know, if mum isn't driving the car that, you know, her and dad have, someone else is driving, is there going to be space for dad to now join that same car to get back? Guests, you know, that have travelled in, you know, transport. So some couples will hire a minivan, you know, a mini coach, which is really nice. And that just solves some of the issues as well. But transport, there's so many, every element of the wedding is important. Because there's something in every element that if you miss it, it can now become, you know, obviously there's the major things, but it's the smaller things that actually cause disruption on a day. And that's why you have to iron everything out completely, leave no stone unturned with the planning so that there's no surprises on the wedding day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, those, it's the smaller ones that sometimes you just overlook it, and then it's only on the day that you realise, oh, wow, we didn't.
But I guess this is, see, there's certain vendors that I like working with because they take their job seriously. So someone that's hired, like there's certain vendors that would just ask certain questions. You know, who's providing this? Who's doing this? Whereas there's other vendors that would just literally, whatever you ask them is what they provide. And I'm like, you have to be the one to educate the couples. They're not going to know to ask for certain things. For example, a lot of couples assume the cake knife comes with the cake.
This is a big one.
Big assumption. It's very easy for the cake person to say, hey, by the way, the cake knife doesn't come. Put in your terms, put in your contract, put in the invoice, put it somewhere. Or, you know, during a consultation, let the couple know that they can hire it, you know, for X amount, or, you know, but it needs to come back, or they can buy it. But it's that, you know, that small thing again, you know, but, you know, thank God we've been in business long enough that, but, you know, whether we're planning or coordinating, we come in early enough to ask the right questions, speak to all the vendors, iron out anything that might be missing or might be assumed, so that on the day it's way too late to be finding out anything. Way too late. But things like cake knife, who's bringing a cake knife? I always ask a couple that, I don't know actually. Maybe the caterer will have the cake knife. I'm like, what, that cake knife? And as we know, caterers are also not trying to cut the wedding cake anymore, so that's a whole nother. They're not trying to cut the wedding cake.
Don't mind.
You don't mind. We have, yes, you can cut the cake. Are we saying the cake baker should cut the cake?
Someone actually told me, Abigail, I don't trust anyone else. I want you to cut my wedding cake. I said, okay.
That's okay, as long as they're willing to pay you to stay there till that time, because that's what the challenge is. By the time it's time to cut the cake,
it's a whole lot later.
Yeah.
So for me, one of the there's a couple of questions that I ask when I arrive at the venue.
Okay.
One of them is, where's the cake knife?
Was what?
Where's the cake knife?
Yeah.
Because
and that's,
it always comes to, because it's when it's not that when it's the next ingredient is cutting the cake and everyone's looking around. That's not the time to be looking for cake knife. Yeah. And you have somebody just wrap one normal knife in some foil and bring.
Oh my gosh.
We're better than that, guys.
We are better than that. So anyone listening to this podcast, cake knife. Remember, ask your cake lady, you know, can you hire a cake knife from her? Does it come with a cake? Can you hire it from her? If not, jump onto Amazon, grab yourself a cake knife set. And also you can get them personalized as well. I think somewhere like Etsy, you can get them personalized with your wedding date, your names, you know, so it's a keepsake as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And then if you could give one bit of advice to couples planning their wedding, something that they should think about, consider when they're planning, what would that be?
One thing I would say, I'm going to say one thing I would say to brides, okay? Yeah, let's take it separately, right? One thing I would say to brides is sometimes they have this expectation that the groom will be fully hands-on, really engage with every discussion about the wedding and care about every single detail. And I just have to let you know, brides, it's not always the case. And I think it's important because, you know, people say manage your expectations, right? Your level of excitement, it's very rare to find a groom that would have that same level of excitement. Now, I'm blessed that a lot of my couples, the grooms are very hands-on, even to the point where we had one groom, you know who you are, that was, he was amazing, attention to detail, oh my gosh, but he was rare. Okay, so I just want to say, brides, this is why it's good to have a coordinator, have a planner, because we become your someone described me as like, I think, a borrowed friend. You know, because literally for the time that we're planning, we literally become their everyday friend, talking, discussing, and talking all things weddings, which they don't always, can do with the groom. So I would just say, don't be too hard on the grooms. Okay, don't get frustrated. Don't start arguments. Don't start shouting. Oh, you're not interested. Just understand that he's a guy. He may be interested in photography. May be interested in the DJ. He'll be interested in his suit, but also they're probably going to leave the suit to the last month. Don't stress, okay? It takes 2 weeks to get a suit. Just letting you know, but don't tell them that, okay?
Yeah.
So just for brides, just manage your expectations when it comes to the groom. That's what I would say, and that if you take that advice, then hopefully there'll be less kind of, but for the grooms on the other side, please help the bride. Please help the bride. My gosh, it's a whole wedding, and she's just one person, and she's still working her job. She still has to be a sister, a daughter, and everything else that she's doing, and it just makes her feel supported, and it just makes her know that you're a team. And planning a wedding is the first project that you work together.
For sure.
And you may be buying a house at the same time, but this is where you really get to know each other.
Yeah.
So I would say brides, go easy with the grooms, but grooms, step it up, and just be more hands-on, because it's a lot of work. And usually when I have like my first consultation with couples, it's a 3-hour consultation, and at the end of it, grooms are like, I didn't know.
That's a lot. Yeah.
I didn't know. And now they're like, okay, I'm so sorry to the bride. So that's just one thing. Another thing is you want to be united. You have amazing mothers and mother-in-laws who will definitely have their vision for the wedding.
Yep.
And if you're not careful, even just families, that can cause friction in your relationship to the point where you're arguing and now thinking, do we really want to get married? And the relationship's not the issue. It's external factors affecting that. So you as a couple, behind the doors, closed doors, what are we united on? What are we together on? And then you face your family members, together, united. That's very, very, very important. Otherwise, you're just going to find yourself, fighting battles that, you don't have to.
For
and
sure.
another thing I will say, you said one tip, didn't you?
We keep them coming. We love the gems.
Another one, because some people, some couples are crying out there. Another thing I will say when it comes to parents as well, choose the battles, that you want to fight. It's not everything you must argue. If mum wants to come in and do a dance with her friends or whatever, just think about the whole day, that 5 minutes, that 10 minutes. Is it going to mess up the day? No, it's not. I had a recent wedding. The groom was adamant that his father-in-law would not have his way and have a live band. Eventually, the live band was there, and I was just like, it's not as bad as you think. And just, the dad was contributing towards the wedding.
Okay, fine. That way,
a lot of money.
You can have some say.
And it's just like, we'll just dance for maybe 30, 40 minutes and then that's it. But on the day, it was great, So sometimes things that you think are so important, and I guess this is why I keep on, I'm not selling our services, but that's why it's important to have a third person in the whole of this who is not biased to anybody, to any family, to any bride or groom. We see the whole wedding, and we see weddings as a family affair. So if you're trying to do a wedding and try and not include your parents or not listen to them, we're not. That's not what we want. Because on the day, it's your parents that are giving you away, and they don't want to feel like guests at your wedding. They want to feel like part of the wedding. So we are very family orientated, but we use wisdom. And I can say to them, look, just let your mum do it, let your dad do it, or let me speak to them. I've had a few conversations where I've had to speak to parents on the phone, and I love parents. I absolutely love speaking to them, and I don't mind, because that's my job. And sometimes I have to just explain things to them, because when the children are explaining it, but when myself as the planner comes and say, this is the restrictions of the venue, or this is why this can't work, or this is the timings we're working with, then it helps to make them understand it a little bit better as well. So yeah.
Wonderful. We got some gems in there though.
Just a few I can give you for days.
That was
just 0.1%.
Scratching the surface.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Oh, it's
We
been
really enjoyed it.
amazing.
I don't know, we got loads of gems for the people that are planning
Yes.
their wedding. We got a little something for you as well.
Oh,
Got some food
thank
from our
you.
food sponsor, Echo Cafe.
Oh, she's absolutely amazing.
She is
Guys, make sure
indeed.
you check her out. Her
Make
food
sure.
is amazing. Her
Yeah.
puff, her jollof rice, everything. So I am so happy.
Got
Thank
some
you.
chops in there and some also Chapman.
Oh, yes. I
We
love a
love that.
Chapman. I love a Chapman.
So yes, that is all for you.
Thank you so much.
And
It's been amazing.
That is another episode of the Vendors Table. Catch us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and we'll see you next time.